he went all the way in there too, didn't he, man? He went right in the hole with it, dude.
Yeah, a little bit different. I think he has a different relationship with his ball than Jesus has.
Oh yeah, he stuck his tongue. I don't know.
Right in the chili hole, I guess, right?
Right in the chili hole, yeah.
We have a lot better things to do than just go bowling.
Let's go bowling, 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 bowling. Let's go bowling, 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 bowling. Let's go bowling.
Welcome to the Night Pod Cometh, where we talk about the classic comedy It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm one of your hosts, Magnum Mills, and I'm here with the Soupdeucer to discuss Season 16, Episode 7, The Gang Goes Bowling, 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 Bowling. I'm sitting here tonight having an ice-cold Coors Light. They serve a lot of those at the bowling alley. Soup, what's up with you and your chili cheese fries tonight?
The chili cheese fries are getting a little ooey gooey, soggy, dude, at this point, man. In this heat, they certainly don't travel well either. But I'm drinking PBRs tonight, which I'm sure they serve at any fucking bowling alley. I would hope anyway. And fuck it, man. Let's go bowling, dude.
Any good bowling alley, dude. Any good bowling alley. They better. And thank you for checking out the Night Pod Cometh. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. We're on social media at Night Pod Cometh. And much like you don't want the bowling alley to forget the beer, don't forget the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. Helps other people find our show, find our channel. We really appreciate it. Please and thank you. So if you have fun bowling, give us that thumb, please. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and just so you all know, we are going to be discussing anything and everything about Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We're open to talking about just about anything that happens in any of the episodes. So you've been warned. We also might bring up certain things like the Big Lebowski or Kingpin or anything bowling related. So you have officially been warned.
Yeah, probably all two of those things because I can't really think of more bowling stuff, but it's a good time. Every TV show eventually does a bowling episode at some point. So shout out the gang.
Let's do this thing.
This is Season 16, Episode 7, the 169th overall episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, titled The Gang Goes Bowling. Originally aired July 12, 2023. Directed by Megan Gantz. This is the fourth episode of Sunny that she has directed. And this one was written by the Big Three, Rob McElhenney, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howerton. And we have an all-star lineup here as guest stars. We have Mary Elizabeth Ellis as Waitress, Artemis Pidani as Artemis, Mary Lynn Rastrub as Gail the Snail, Jimmy Simpson as Liam McPoyle, and Nate Mooney as Ryan McPoyle. The short plot synopsis is the guys crash Dee's bowling league night and compete in a battle of the sexes at a bowling alley owned by the McPoyles. And just a couple of notable callbacks and references here. This is the first time we've seen the McPoyles since the season 9 finale. The gang squashes their beefs. And they'd actually banned the gang from running at their video store in that episode, and we hear the video store mentioned here. The McPoyles seem to pay homage to Jesus from the Big Lebowski at least twice. We see Ryan licking the ball like Jesus does, and they both polish their balls in the same manner as the Jesus. This is the first appearance of Gail the Snail since season 13, episode 3, The Gang Beats Boggs Ladies Reboot. And we know that Gail's got a thing for Frank and Mac back from the Gang Goes Frank and Intervention back in season 5.
I'm giving Frank a handy under the table. Ugh.
That is true. Look, Snail, back off, because you're just mashing it now.
And this is the 18th appearance of Artemis. Among supporting characters, only Waitress and Cricket have appeared in more episodes. And we hear the song Disco Inferno by the Tramps at the bowling alley. This song is also prominently featured in the bowling movie Kingpin in a similar moment when you enter the bowling alley, I think at 2 different times in that movie. And this isn't even the first sports-themed episode to feature Dennis Reynolds laughing maniacally and breaking his bones. We also saw this happen back in The Gang Hits the Slopes in season 11. Soup, what do you think of this one, man? Just kind of general overall thoughts on The Gang Goes Bowling, 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 Bowling.
I think this was definitely a very good episode, man. It's pretty much everything you would want out of The Gang Goes Bowling, you know. I think there was a couple of good surprises in there as far as, guest appearances and whatnot. And, the scenarios and stuff are typical, Sunny situations, but well played. And overall, just a good fucking episode, man.
Yeah, I really love this one, not only because I spent a fair amount of time in a bowling alley in my youth. I thought they did a great job of balancing all of the guest characters. They all get a chance to shine. Really, I think everybody but Mac probably gets a pretty good arc in this episode. And we saw that happen earlier, I think, with the gang gets cursed. They start trying to bring in like Charlie's sisters and bring in all these people, and they kind of didn't have enough for all of them to do. And I think they did a really good job in this one. I mean, they really kind of bring the heat here. Almost all of my complaints are of a very technical nature. It made me laugh. They went to the well with the soundtracks. The McPoyles got stuff to do. Maybe my only other minor complaint is we saw a couple of these moments in the trailer, both for the season and the episode. So I felt like a teeny bit spoiled that, would have been nice to keep maybe the punching thing, something we hadn't seen at all. We had both saw Dennis like hit it and his reaction with the broken bones already. So that was fine. I just like, man, I wish they would have maybe saved a little bit more on that one. But, I think I'm in the same boat with you, man. I really enjoyed this one. And,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Nobody
man.
likes a spoiler, so I mean, like when it comes to trailers, you want just enough. You don't want to know too much. At least I don't. I want just enough to get me interested, and then I want to know. Like I want to be curious about what's going on. Like I don't really want to know any answers. I don't want to know that hey, this is going to happen or this is going to happen. I just want a little taste, less than an appetizer.
Yeah, 100%. If I know I'm going to see something, I actively try to avoid the trailer because I don't need to see it if I'm already going to. Exception being if you're in a movie theater, I'm not going to like close my eyes or something if a trailer came on. But otherwise, I'm pretty much like, but if it's something new, then I got to probably check out the trailer and see if maybe I'm interested in seeing any more.
Right. Now, also, sidetracking a little bit here, this is the second episode in a row where they're outside the bar, like out in the wild, so to speak, and
Yeah.
in a in a place. This is a bowling alley. The last one was a like a Chuck E. Cheese ripoff kind of joint or something similar to that, right? So I
Yeah,
thought
with
that was
cigarettes.
cool. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool to double up on like an adventure episode almost.
Yeah, and this does definitely give me a little bit of shades of the gang hits the slopes kind of, which was another adventure episode. I mean, here you do get the opening scene in Paddys, but that's it. And that's common for a lot of the kind of out scenes. Usually you maybe get the setup scene in the bar and then they kick it outside. And I think we're kind of out of excuses, dude. I think it's time to go. It's 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday. The gang's at the bar when Dee shows up wearing a trench coat and she asks for her tips. Of course, she didn't get any tips. So she just wants some money from the register. The gang pesters her about what she's up to and she refuses to answer. Before Mac can rip her trench coat off, Dee opts to take it off and reveals that she's got a bowling outfit on. She's going bowling. The gang kind of laughs at her. Dee leaves and the guys start talking about it. And Dennis makes a whole speech about, listen, guys, we have better things to do than go bowling. And cut to the title card. The gang goes bowling. And Soup, I gotta say, pretty top tier cut to the title card, right? It's that thing where they say, "Oh, we're absolutely not doing this," and then the title card says, "Like, oh yeah, this is what's happening." Kind of like the
right on
welfare
time,
joint.
dude.
Like, oh, we'll be fine. Boom, Dennis and Dee go on welfare. It felt like that to me, kind of. That one definitely hit well.
Yeah, perfectly placed.
And I also loved the bit where Dennis calls Dee out for looking like Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah.
Again, probably aimed at a certain age range of people. I don't know. I mean, Carmen Sandiego is still around, maybe, but she probably doesn't wear the trench coat like that or anything anymore.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego anyway?
Probably out there with Jamie G somewhere, man. I don't know.
Tell me where in the world is
Jamie G.
And I love the hands down the pants gag. Kind of when Dee talks about playing with their ding dongs as she leaves, and they just go back and forth talking about, well, actually, yeah, my hands were down my pants, and they all kind of have a thing for it. I thought that was just a great, random gag. They didn't need it. Doesn't do anything to the plot. It's just funny. Kind of plays into the kind of guys versus gals of it all, I guess. But
Sure, absolutely. That's something I'll probably bring up later. But
Nice.
yeah, I did like that. I did like that scene a lot, just because it was they all were doing it. It's like, oh, lucky guess,
yeah,
But,
lucky, lucky. It was great. And dude, chili cheese fries. Both, do you like them? And would you ever order them via delivery?
Chili cheese fries, all right. I'm more of a poutine guy. I'd rather have the fries with the gravy and the cheese. Chili cheese fries, again, it's something. It's like you kind of have to eat these fries with a fork. Very messy if you don't. I'm not like totally against it, but yeah, it's a messy food. Would I get them delivery? Absolutely fucking not, dude. They do not travel well. There's no fucking way. You know, I mean, it's questionable if you get them at your table and they're not fucked up at that point, you know. So delivery, no. And yeah, you can get anything delivered now. It's fucking DoorDash and Grubhub and all that shit. You can get delivery for whatever the fuck. So if you want to get chili cheese fries delivered, go for it, but I don't recommend it.
The Jurassic Park joint, though, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
Yeah, I think fries and delivery are just kind of sketchy by the nature of the beast, and they're never.
That's something you want hot right out right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when they're at their best, no matter where you're getting them from. And can you have chili fries, or do you have to have cheese?
Some people don't eat the cheese, so I guess you could just do chili fries. But
See, I do cheese fries. I never really do chili cheese fries. So
you
I
can
can
do
see how it could
you
work.
can do just cheese fries too. You know, and then some people want to do them all loaded and shit. You know, once you open up that box, people are like,
Yeah,
"Well,
like
can
loaded cheese fries.
yeah,
I
can
don't
I
know
get
about
bacon
loaded
and
chili cheese
onions
fries, but I
and,
know
you know?"
loaded cheese fries is the thing. You get like
Yeah.
bacon and other stuff going on.
If
Same
I'm
thing,
gonna
gotta eat with a
go,
fork.
yeah, if I'm gonna go with chili cheese fries, though, I don't want just like some shredded cheese on top of it. Like I don't want some melted cheese. I want liquid cheese on there.
You need that
know.
cheese whiz, you know.
So, yeah, or something like it. Yeah.
If you're in a bowling alley, you got to go with the cheese whiz, the cheese sauce, and the processed stuff. That's how you do it at the bowling alley. I think it's not very artisan over there, what have you.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably open up a can of that shit, number 10 can of that shit, and heat it up, and then just boom, ladle it on there.
Love it,
Which
dude.
is fine,
Love
man.
it.
It's fucking cheese fries, dude. You know, it's what it's supposed to be.
Love it. After the credits, Dee arrives at the bowling alley. She's on a team with Artemis, Gail the Snail, and the waitress. They're mad that Dee is late and that she doesn't have her $35. But Dee manages to win them over by demonstrating her bowling skills. The frigid bitches are ready to roll. Well, at least until the rest of the gang strolls in. This is actually a co-ed tournament, so the guys decide to form a team of their own. Challenge the frigid bitches. So, I've said it twice, dude. How'd you feel about the frigid bitches gag?
Frigid bitches? Yeah. God, you guys are stupid.
I think it was a pretty good play on words, man. You know, would I want to be part of that team? You know, probably no, but
Oh, there are female Sunny fans. I guarantee they're gonna have that shirt made and rock that shit. Especially if they're like
Yeah.
someone will make it to the bowling team name, 100%. Someone's doing it.
sure, yeah, and I can't blame them. You know, I mean, like I said, it's a well-designed name, man. You know, but
What was the Simpsons joint? Oh, the Pin Pals. Would you rather be the frigid bitches or the Pin Pals?
I'd have to go pin pals on that one. You know.
And shout out D. I just like the little quote, like
Or perhaps I should let my balls do the talking.
Please do. Yeah.
kind of a nice double entendre there in an episode that's kind of, male versus female. And then she just tucks it down. I mean, she had pretty good form. Although I will say, we hear she's pretty serious about bowling. She would actually have her own ball. 100%. When you get to that level of bowling, or if you're the best bowler on your high school team, you would have your own ball. So even if it was old, she would still have that.
Yeah, if you're on that level of bowling, you definitely got your own bowl. You definitely got your own ball. You probably have your own shoes. Are you allowed to bring your own shoes, or do you have to rent the shoes they have there?
No, you can bring your own shoes, but they have
You
to
can
be
bring
like
your own
bowling
shoes.
shoes generally.
Right,
Although
right.
now maybe they might let you go with just like sneakers. If you had basketball shoes, running shoes or something, they might let you. I mean, really just a pretty good opening scene overall. I was excited to see all the girls again. We've seen this in the trailer, so it wasn't like a super surprise. I do have to note here that the waitress explicitly says no one else was free on a Friday night, but the title card said that it was Saturday morning. And this is kind of something that comes up a couple of times throughout the episode. So I don't know if it happened in the editing room or it's just a pure continuity error, or if it's on purpose for some reason, but the title card and this date doesn't really make sense. Like this isn't like a week later on Friday. So just something, again, I'll talk about it a little later.
Well, maybe they made the arrangements on a Friday. Like I couldn't get in touch with anybody else.
No,
on
she says it's Friday night. Like she says no one else is
okay.
available on a Friday night. Like be there, so.
Well, we don't want you on our team. It's just that our fourth didn't show up and literally no one else was free on a Friday night. So
It's fine. Again, not a big deal. Just in this episode, I think the only other thing you brought up the shoes. How do we not get a gag about they're not having shoes big enough for D? Like that was all. Remember back in the day, like these giant feet were always a huge running gag. It would have been really funny, right, if she owned her own shoes explicitly because they didn't carry shoes big enough, or something like that. I think that would have just been a cool, like.
You're
just
right.
little
I'm
bit of
surprised they
a
didn't play into that. Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, and just shout out like when Dennis shows up and he starts doing his crazy laughing thing, and then Charlie starts doing it, and then Dennis kind of looks at me, stops, and goes, "I thought we were doing the laughing thing."
Right. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just such a
I
stupid
thought I
little
would
gag.
get
This episode was full of those, man. Just fun little gags that they didn't need to add for any real reason other than they were just funny. Like all of that stuff really worked for me for the most part.
I like that kind of shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they pack it in here. And speaking of packing it in, the guys head over to the counter to check in, and we find out that the bowling alley is owned by the McPoyles. They got out of the video rental business right after the bubble burst. Ryan alludes to a horrible bowling accident in his past, but the guys have no interest in hearing about it. Frank agrees to pay the $35 fee for everyone, and Liam informs them that while they have all of the ingredients for chili cheese fries, they cannot be combined under any circumstances. The guys agree, and they're all set to take on the Frigid Bitches. Dude, this is really funny when Liam's like, oh, no, like you guys can't get in. Why?
You just couldn't afford it.
How much is it?
$35.
We got that. Yeah, that's fine. Each. Do you mind covering us? We're good.
I find it hysterical. And do you remember Dee had to ask for money like from the cash drawer? I just find it hysterical. These people in their mid 40s to early 50s cannot find, like, they don't have 35, 40 bucks.
I mean, times are tight, dude.
And let's be honest here. If they're going to the bowling alley, they're going to want to get a couple beers, and they are not cheap. I think if you actually look on the joint behind the McPoyles, a 16-ounce beer is $11.99.
Holy shit. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not, that's like sporting venue prices kind of, except it'll probably be a 20-ounce for like 14 or something if I had to guess. But if that's too much, dude, at least you get a warm glass of milk for $2.99.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that on there. It's hilarious.
No, I had to do a zoom in, and you also see that you can get a McPoyle special. We don't know what the main stuff is, but we know that it comes with extra mayo, condensed milk, and their family secret sauce. That one's a $16.99. And at the very bottom, in like small red print, it actually says chili fries not allowed under any circumstance. Just shout out the McPoyles. We missed you, and I love Liam's weird eye patch. Jimmy Simpson's obviously kind of gone on, and he's a lot bigger actor than he was back in the day when he was originally playing the role. So good for him, and that's great that he came back. And I love that because it does again pay off a little bit later in the episode because you can't tell if he's watching you or not.
Yeah. It's creepy too. He's got the weird eye on there and everything. But another thing about that, the dude's name is Liam, and in the Big Lebowski, the Jesus's bowling partner, his name is Liam. Also,
okay.
I don't know if they made that. Obviously, the characters' names were already that anyway, so it's probably just coincidence. But yeah, Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up, man.
Oh, I like that, dude. That's great. Back on the lanes, the Frigid Bitches are taking a team picture, and I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty good. Dee tries to assert herself as the team leader, but the waitress points out that she doesn't even know all their names. The guys roll up and tell the girls that they're playing against them. Dee tries to act tough, but Dennis explains that Dee will get 0 pins every time he says gutter ball while she's bowling. Dennis gloats about the superiority of the male sex. And we cut to commercial. I really thought that this was just a lot of fun, really. Kind of not a ton here. Just the team name for the guys is worth pointing out. The Hanging Monster Dong Lucky Strike Chili Cheese Fryers. I mean, that might be a little bit too many ideas in one, but
Do you feel like this is like too many ingredients, or
honestly, chef, it seems a little busy, ma.
I don't think it's fitting on the shirt very well. I'll put it that way. Dude, if we were going to have our own bowling team, we were talking about, you got a better name? You got a good bowling team name?
I was trying to think, man. And, honestly, man, no, no, I was not able to come up with one because,
I hear you would just be the dudes, right? Like if you were the male in this, wouldn't you just be the dudes? I think that would be a good one.
The dudes would be great. I was trying to come up with something a little more clever, man, and nothing was clicking for me, man. Sometimes I can do these, sometimes I can't. Today was one of those where I just fucking couldn't come up with one, man.
Yeah, I'd go Kingpin with it. You want to work Munson in there somewhere. I think Munson is always a good one to get in. Like Lebowski McCracken or something, like Walter McCracken, maybe combine some Lebowski and some Kingpin, something like that. I'd probably lean that way. Unless, we're sponsored by someone and you could make a Frigid Bitches type of pun.
Bigger, something, or hey, shut the fuck up, Donnie, might be a good one.
Now that I can see on a bowling shirt. And should just point out here that they set up the idea that nobody watches women's sports, and then which comes around at the end of the episode. So again, nice job of setting that up. Episode is very well written. After the commercial break, Dennis decides a lineup. Mac wants to start in order to show their power and dominance, which Dennis thinks will work against the snail. He sends Frank up second against Artemis and Charlie up third against the waitress. He should annoy the shit out of her, right? Dennis will run anchor against Dee, and he is looking forward to messing with her head. Dennis warns Charlie not to get distracted by the birthday party he notices happening in the arcade area. Soup, let me just ask you ever go to a bowling alley birthday party when you were a kid?
Yes, absolutely.
I enjoyed them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always a good time, man. Back then it's like it depends. Talking about when you're a kid, so you don't really get to drink or anything, but you like to get whatever hot dogs, whatever they have there, sodas and shit. So it's almost like you're adulting it a little bit, because it's something you don't normally get to do, and you're out, and you get all your friends and people that you can see, whatever, man. It's a cool thing to do, man.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of the Risky Rats joint. Like the whole point was to do what you want, and you could do that at the bowling alley. Like you could bowl while like playing pinball and like getting French fries or something.
Yes.
Like you could do it all, and it was always annoying because there would be multiple people if you were trying to do something like this that would be doing something else. Like they're playing cards, they're playing a video game, they're getting a drink, they're doing something. You know what I mean? And like you're trying to get everyone to bowl. So I do kind of feel Dennis on that one. Like it's like that.
Yeah, nobody wants to be looking for you when it's
yeah, because especially back in the day, someone would be keeping score, and scorekeeper would be like, "Yo, like, what's up with your, what's up with your guy?" And you got to go hunt him down or whatever. So, never was a fan of that. And their name, while great, not easy to do the 1, 2, 3 and then say that whole thing, right? I love that moment, kind of trying to do that and just not going anywhere.
Hands in, boys. Say it on 3.
Hanging
monster dog.
Now I'm forgetting
Chili cheese
fries.
The first matchup is Mac versus the Snail. Mac fires the ball straight down the lane and does okay, while the Snail is overcome by her sexual attraction to Mac. Meanwhile, Frank is trying to mix the chili, the cheese, and the fries together, but the McBoyles are watching him like hawks. Next, we've got Frank versus Artemis. They both roll strikes and agree to bag after they're done. Dee is very impressed. She didn't know Artemis could bowl. Artemis tells her that she can't bowl, but her character that she's playing, Donna Brunswick, is an excellent bowler. Loved all the guest stars here, and I have to say right up front, this whole gag of Artemis being in character is one of my favorite bits.
Artemis, you can bowl?
No, my character can. Me, I can't bowl for shit.
Just the idea that she can't bowl, but all of a sudden she's such a good actress, like she can basically, I don't know, like get into character. That's wild, right? That's like someone who can't cook becoming a world-class chef because they got into character or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, man. But yeah, I can't bowl for shit, but my character can, and all of a sudden she goes out there and fucking rolls a strike and shit, so it seemed to work for her,
Oh, and just the setup too of it that then Frank's like, he wants to mush. We'll talk about the mush in a minute, but just then Artemis agrees to it, and then Dee's like, what? And she's like, oh yeah, because my character is also a giant whore, which is what attracted me to the role in the first place.
Right.
That was just a perfect all around, like every part of that gag just made me laugh. What do you think, dude? Mush? Like, I don't, you say mush, I think of the dude from A Bronx Tale, right? Wasn't that mush in there? Like, that's when you say mush, that's what I think of. It's very non-sexual.
Yeah, I wouldn't relate it there either, but they say some weird shit.
You remember? Yeah, they'd smash, right? Like taking the shit was a smash.
Yeah,
that's not a
that
smash.
should be banging. If anything, mushing should be shitting, and smashing should be banging.
Yeah, it's really all mushed up here.
So, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna refer to that as mushing. But we'll see. I guess that depends on what you're fucking tapping. Maybe it is mushing.
Oh, just theoretically, like this South Jersey is kind of near Philly, and back in the day, smush was the thing. Like that was the Jersey Shore term. Like you smushed. So I could have. That's what I thought they said the first time, honestly. And then I'm like, oh no, they actually really said mush. And shout out Frank's kind of like slow strike. Remember, you always see people who bowl like that, like the two-handers, and it barely, especially when the kids or something like that. It was just a nice visual gag. I like that shot. The Gail the Snail stuff was pretty funny, but we saw almost all of her lines here in the trailer. So again, it wasn't quite as funny as it could have been, probably because I already seen that a few times. And Dennis is right, isn't he? He says these days, if the computer counted, it counts. He's not wrong, right?
Yeah, that goes for fucking anything now. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's again very subtle, but I think the episode really landed a lot of those subtle jokes and gags. The next matchup is between Charlie and the waitress. Charlie has, of course, joined the fun at the birthday party in the arcade. He comes running back over to their lane, beer in one hand, birthday cake in the other. Charlie effortlessly throws a strike, beer in hand, while complimenting the waitress on her hair, and then he runs back to the birthday party. Despite her best efforts, the waitress rolls a gutter ball. That brings us to Dee versus Dennis. Just like Dennis said, every time he says gutter ball, Dee rolls a gutter ball. Dennis, of course, rolls a strike. The ladies begin to fight, and Dennis gloats about the superiority of men. Dee comes up with a new plan. Instead of playing like men, they're going to manipulate the guys because, after all, men are stupid. Let's be honest here, right up front. If somebody started doing this shit to you, what is it, 2 times, 3 times, and then you're like legally allowed to throw the bowling ball at them or something?
It's got to be something like
Once
that.
is kind of a joke. Twice is like, all right, dude, seriously. It's like throwing forks at people, right? The first time, whatever. The second time is like, oh, you better not throw another fork at me. You throw that third fork.
Yeah, it's on, dude.
And I feel like that's the case here. I almost wish Dee would have snapped on a little bit at some point. I don't want to advocate violence, but it's kind of the sports thing, right? Like, that's kind of like cheap shot. There's like a code. You don't do that when dudes are shooting free throws, stuff like that. Like, crowd
Right.
or something, that's one thing. But if you're their opponent, you're not supposed to do that.
No, you got to have a fair game, and I feel like that's not really making it a fair game, But the fact that that was like it tied into kind of part of the story, because at first, when they're making the scene in the bar, they don't mention any of this shit. It is until they roll up to the bowling alley to face off with them that Dennis unleashes that and tells the story of Dee's history with bowling and whatnot. So I guess in order to tie it in, it had to be done. But yeah, would I be pissed? Yeah, absolutely. Fuck that, man.
Yeah, I definitely would. That wouldn't fly generally, although this is kind of a pretty informal tournament as far as what I could tell. But dude,
Not a league game, or is it a league game? Was it a league game?
it's a tournament. It's a co-ed tournament. So I don't know if that, like, maybe it counts towards your handicap. Maybe you had to turn it in or something. Dude, do you remember air hockey? When's the last time you played air
Yes.
hockey?
Not too long ago, because some of the bars around here.
Really? Oh, I don't think I played air hockey in, God, at least 15 years. I can't even.
Oh, it's a great thing to have in a bar too, man, or at the
Oh,
house.
I used to love playing. You got to do the bank or that stuff. That baby starts moving, man.
I had one when I was a kid.
Yeah, but the home joint was never the same as the big
when you go out
arcade. It goes
yeah.
way at home. They start flying off, right? If I remember right, like you can't get too brutal with it, or they would just go everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, going out to one, like a legit one, is definitely very cool. And yeah, if there's one where I'm at someplace, I'm probably gonna throw down and play a little air hockey, dude. Who doesn't love air hockey, man?
Nice, there we go. I get to play some air hockey soon. I would love to
Yes.
do that. That'd be awesome. And again, just kind of pointing out in some of the things that don't quite fit together in the episode. The waitress said she didn't invite Dee, but who did? Dee would have gone if the snail asked. I don't think Artemis did. She's doing her thing. So that doesn't, who else would have actually called Dee? Like, my conspiracy theory is actually that Dennis did this somehow to set up this whole thing to like humiliate Dee or score points or do something, or it was going to be some other layer to it. And then they ended up not doing that. And that's why everything's just off a little bit. That's just, I haven't heard anything about that. I don't know anything. That's just my little guess. Theory, what have you.
Yeah, I could see Dennis doing something like that, but you think it would have been mentioned,
Well, they did that kind of in Time's Up for the Gang, where that was all set up. Like, it wouldn't be the first time they've kind of set each other up like this, I guess, is what I'm saying. So I wouldn't have minded if there was another layer to it. Maybe the episode just ran long. I mean, there's so much funny stuff. I don't know what you would pull out of this. That's why I wish they could just be like, yo, FX, we're going to do like 26 minutes.
They could have made another episode, I think, if they were going to do one that was like maybe maybe an episode and a half length or a double episode length or something like that. I don't know if they ever do that, but this could have been one that they maybe.
They're like What We Do in the Shadows. Their 5th season, both the episodes were like 26 minutes long. So, maybe is that the difference between FX and FXX? I'm not quite sure, but I think there might have been maybe just a little bit more here that got left on the cutting room floor for one reason or another. After that, Snail and Mac are up again, and Snail messes with Mac's head by saying that he has no finesse. He can't spin the ball. Dennis warns Mac not to try spinning the ball, so naturally, Mac tries to spin it, and he chucks it straight into the gutter. Next, the waitress messes with Charlie by asking for his help. Charlie tries to watch where his elbow is while bowling, and he throws gutter ball after gutter ball. The ladies start gaining ground, but Dee still throws a gutter ball every time. Frank comes up with a method to make chili cheese fries by hiding the chili in the finger holes of his bowling ball. All of a sudden, Artemis throws a gutter ball, and we learn it's because that's what her character does in her play. Dennis gloats about being ahead and tells Dee to quit. The waitress, despite hating Dee and not wanting her there, sticks up for Dee and challenges Dennis to a test of strength. We've alluded to it a little. Thoughts on the bowling ball-based chili cheese fries?
I mean, it's fucking nasty, dude. A good idea, maybe.
Finger hole, public bowling alley, community ball finger holes.
Right.
have got to be some of the dirtiest. I mean, there's a reason they do that spray in the bowling shoes, right? Here's a little thing.
Yeah,
They don't
I
spray
doubt
those
they're,
finger holes that often.
No, I don't think they're cleaning those finger holes out properly, man. They're certainly not sanitized or anything like that. I wouldn't put food in there. I definitely wouldn't fill them with fucking chili or anything.
I wouldn't even want to like put my fingers in it and then eat the food unless I was like, you know, in a bowling alley, I had a couple beers. I wouldn't think about it so much. But otherwise, I would probably like, yeah, you know, it's one thing if it's your own ball from home, at least your own germs.
Yeah, who knows what could be stuffed in them finger holes, man, or who knows what.
Yeah, you telling me no one's
might
ever
have
does a little, you know, put their little chili dog in the bowling ball on a bat or something?
I'm sure it's happened.
Looking
you
for the
know?
big thumb hole, dude.
Yeah, fuck, man. I mean, but I think the worst part about that was that he used that ball to take his next turn with, and the thing was just shit and chili the whole way down the fucking bowl.
I love that
You know?
visual. That was great. Again, great direction, Megan Gantz. I really love the way this was just laid out. I think the whole episode was directed great. It looked really great. I believe the bowling alley they're shooting at Corbin Bowl. It's a chain of bowling alleys that are at least in LA. So this isn't anything that's in Philly or local or anything like that. But I thought it was a really good setup for what they were going for. And I love the payoff to the Artemis kind of being in character gag here, right? That she deliberately tanks it, or not deliberately, or just goes out of character or whatever, because that's what her character does.
Hey! What happened? What the hell happened?
In the third act of my play, Donna rolls a gutter ball in the big match against her rival high school.
Are you serious?
Oh my god.
Can you knock it off with the play, please?
She's following the script, man. You know.
I love that. It was just so, you know, because I guess it was kind of close. And this is where I'll get into a little more towards the end where the scores don't really, you know, match up here. But the one technical mistake they make is Dennis says they're 11 points down, 11 points shy in the final frame. You would never say point, it's pins. You know what I mean? It's like calling it points in hockey, kind of. Like if someone was like a real bowler was watching, they'd be like, oh, every time they say points instead of pins, they're quiet, like, oh, dude.
Or baseball, man. You're not like 2 points up, dude.
Right, it's runs, yeah. So it's one of the, I'm not want to like totally bust anyone's balls, but if you're doing a bowling episode, yeah, see if Dennis really went to like these bowling practices all the time and everything, he should probably know that it's pins. I would think probably.
Right.
Although the gang's not really a crazy sportsman, so I guess I could forgive it. But and dude, shout out the waitress. Like when she defends Dee, she just goes in on her.
I don't like your sister. She's a terrible person. She's a bitch and she's ugly and I didn't want her on the team.
Yeah, she's gross.
Sure, and she's gross, but you know what? You're even worse.
The waitress has got a pretty good character grade for me this week, man. She did a pretty good job on whatever a lot of things in this episode, man. So yeah, the way she defended Dee while ripping her apart was still you know, also very cool.
And then shout out Charlie, just a couple minor things. He's got the old school McGregor hoodie. Remember, like McGregor, the sweatpants, sweatshirts, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
That's definitely some old school. Like he's probably, the implication is he's probably had that since high school or something like that, I'm guessing. And I love that no matter, even when he's trying to look at his elbow, he's still got the beer in one hand.
Right.
Everyone else at least puts a beer down. Charlie Bull's beer in hand. It's the only way he can do it.
It works for him mostly, as long as he's not looking at his fucking elbow, you know.
And when you bowl, man, you just whip it right down the lane or you spinner. You got that finesse in you?
I have a little finesse. I'm not that good at bowling, man. I'm not really good at bowling at all anyway, but I like to do it. I can do a little spin. I'm not like super fucking, you know, legit on the fucking bowling English or whatever you call it. But yeah, I try to just go straight down there, man. But a little bit, I can spin it a little bit, you know.
You don't go the full like 2 finger. Like that's what I think that's what Mac was ultimately trying to. You just put the 2 fingers in, no thumb, and then you just really crank the joint.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can't really do. I would try. Maybe next time I go, I'll give it a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, dude,
but,
you were getting old. That's how you hurt yourself. That's one of my main issues. I don't bowl anymore because it kills my back, dude. Yeah, but a lot of times you throw a 15, 16 pound ball like that. If you're not used to it, it'll definitely crank on you a little bit.
It's been a while since I've been bowling. I've definitely played air hockey many, many times.
Previous to a bowl, yeah.
Yes, to bowling. Bowling's been a while, but that's because I don't have access to a bowling alley here, really. And I wish there was one, man. You know, I mean, because I would go more often.
I would like to do it more socially. I used to go bowling quite a bit. I'd say minimum once or twice a month, even not that, 10 years ago maybe. And now it's just been.
Yeah, it's
like
one of those things you don't
minutes.
really have to be good at. You just you go for fun, you know. I mean, unless you're like on a team or in the league or something, then you want to be good. But if you're just going to fucking
well, even if you're bowling with normies, then you really shouldn't, be pushing too hard.
Yeah,
just no bumpers, unless you got kids. I mean, but even then, You can bumpers to you like 5, and the bumper should come off.
What does that mean? Something that blocks off the gutters?
Yeah. They put
Oh,
like
yeah.
pipes in it so you can't throw a gutter ball.
Nah, fuck that.
It's
That's
fine
part
for like
of the fucking game,
3,
dude.
4, 5-year-olds, but then you gotta learn, dude. Everyone heads into the arcade and they go over to the boxer game. Dennis thinks this is all a big joke, and he has the waitress go first. She goes with a kick instead of a punch, but she does quite well, getting 823 out of a possible 999 points. Dennis seemed nervous, but he unfurls a massive punch and scores 999 points. Dennis celebrates a victory, but also screams in agony because he broke every bone in his hand. Dude, when Dennis says,
I summon the very fact that I am a man!
I cannot express how hard I laughed, and I still laugh. Just like because he's a guy. Like we've heard him do this before when he said he was going to bring down shit like Thor. I think in D Gives Birth or whatever. He had a pretty good Thor joint in that, but I just loved because he's on this the whole episode, right? Like it's all like men are superior. So the waitress does it to him. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get this, not because I'm better, just because I'm a man. And he was very confident. But again, another joint that got a little bit ruined by the trailers. Like we saw the punch in the aftermath scream. We didn't know that it was against the waitress, that she kicked it or whatever. But
yeah, I think she unleashed a fucking kick though, man. I wouldn't want to take a kick from her. Holy fuck, man.
I thought we were going to find out more about that. Maybe like she was taking self-defense classes or something like that, because that wasn't
the first time she ever kicked anything.
And I tried to watch. I think she did. I think Mary Elizabeth Ellis did it. I tried. Maybe it was just. I tried to watch, man. It was. If they shout out their matching, if that was a stunt person, that was just really, really good. Shout out Dennis's line after he breaks his hand. There's nothing solid left in there. It's just bloody soup and bone broth.
Bloody soup and bone broth.
That sounds like something you could probably gin up in the kitchen, maybe.
Sounds like something I'm already thinking about.
Yeah, dude, I was looking behind him, so I'm
might be hard to sell.
And I'm looking behind because I'm screenshotting shit and everything. There's a game behind Dennis. It's a Smoking Token Extreme. That's actually a real game. That's not even like fake or anything. That's totally a real game. One of those like coin, I don't know, where you put it's not like a real video game. It's like basically gambling, but for kids. And this is the other thing that bothered me a little bit is when we saw the waitress kick the joint, shouldn't Mac have been like, yo, Dennis, if we can kick, I should do this. Because we haven't got to see Mac do his karate stuff in a minute, right? But Mac should have been remember, he was all about trying to kick. I remember him trying to kick, the Liberty, when he was trying to ring the bell before by kicking it. And with Country Mac or whatever, when he's trying to ring the bell and Country Mac just does it. Like that would have been cool to see Mac kind of trying to pull his karate shit again. And it would have been another joint where Dennis is trying to do something and Mac kind of butts in like, no, we should do it this way. And Dennis just gets angry at him.
The way the story progressed, it was, kind of necessary for, having Dennis fuck his hand up like that.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, I wish this would have been, again, maybe all part of some, like, devious plan or something. Because it's kind of a weird setup. Like, then they go back to keep bowling, like, because the game's not decided. I thought that was going to decide. This is where things maybe get a little bit fuzzy, but I don't care because it's really funny. The guys try to recruit Ryan McBoyle to bowl for Dennis, and we finally hear his tragic story. He was on pace for a perfect game while practicing for the state semifinals when he was distracted by Liam offering him chili cheese fries, which caused his hand to get pinched. He had a nasty bruise for like a week. Ryan refuses to bowl, but Liam offers to step in. Dee comes over to the counter, and when she finds out Liam is subbing for Dennis, she fakes an injury, and Ryan agrees to sub in for her. After polishing their balls, the McPoyles are ready to bowl. Unfortunately, Liam's lack of depth perception screws him up, and he winds up crushing Liam's hand with his bowling ball. Every time I've seen this so far, and I've seen it at least 10 times, I legitimately I think the first time I left, I cried. Because you know what I mean? It's all this big setup, and then he just spins around and hits him right in the hand. And then the reaction where, Liam's like, brother! And he falls, and he starts crawling over, and he's grabbing his leg and everything. I died.
Yeah, maybe a little over the top, but definitely hilarious.
I mean, that's their thing. Like they always have this really weird relationship. There was a little bit of a similar dynamic, I think, in the Marine Ponderosa wedding massacre joint. I think it was the other way around that time, where it was like Ryan begging Liam, but still very funny. And shout out to Big Lebowski here, right? We get the ball cleaning joint and Ryan doing the Jesus thing when he licks the ball in the flashback.
Yeah, he didn't just lick that thing. He went deep, deep with that tongue. He went right in the hole
He
with that thing.
sleeps with that ball, I think, for what it's worth.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. He's probably putting more than his tongue in there too. Then, if that's the
Yeah,
case,
I mean, you can sleep with a golf club. I can see that, but sleeping with a bowling ball has got to be uncomfortable. And I don't know if it's a deliberate callback or shout out, but it definitely reminded me of Caddyshack when D fakes our injury. Like when Rodney Dangerfield's playing like shit and the ball bounces back off the ball washer and hits him in the arm. And then he's like, oh, my arm. Hey, stop.
yeah.
It definitely was the same way there. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but we're going to come back to the bowling match here. And the score is like completely different because before it was 11 pins. There's some very tactical stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be some screenshots, but more or less the girls somehow picked up 26 pins, even though the McCoyles never got any pins. And somehow Dee's going to bowl again, but Dennis doesn't, and whatever. We don't care. So here we go. At this point, according to Dennis and the scoreboard, the match is tied, and Dee still has to bowl. She only has to get 1 pin for the victory, but he's sure that she's going to throw a gutter ball. Dee tries to psych herself up, but she's hearing Dennis's voice in her head. Hell, even the bowling pins look like Dennis, and they're chanting gutter ball at her. Enraged, Dee whips the ball down the lane, and the camera follows it. After a couple twists and turns, the ball knocks over a single pin. Dee begins celebrating, but when she turns around, everybody but the waitress is gone. She explains that Frank Gale and Artemis are having a threesome in the bathroom while the guys went to the Sixers game. Dee asks the waitress why she isn't celebrating, and she admits that, well...
Yeah, honestly, I don't give a shit about women's sports.
And then we just get a fun, exasperated Dee, and we cut to the end credits. And sometimes I'll give him shit for kind of cutting it this way. I absolutely loved this. Just Dee just being like, what the fuck? And then it just... I don't know. Do you like the ending, man? I thought it really worked.
I did, man.
Despite it being maybe a little bit abrupt or awkward.
Nah, I mean, it did have that little bit of a Irish goodbye sense to it, but I don't think, I think for the way it was explained, it kind of made sense, and it was so built up to be like, and Dee got the, because it was all slow mo and everything, and in my mind when that's happening, I'm like, is she gonna get? Like, I know she's not going to get a strike. Like, maybe she knocks one down, or maybe it just goes in the gutter. It's going to go either way, So, she gets the 1 pin, and then, so everybody, as far as an audience is going watching this, is right there with you on that. So now what's going to happen? She turns around, and what nobody thinks, there's fucking nobody there, So
right, it like undercuts itself twice. You have the no reaction to her winning, and then just the cutaway without ever really anybody acknowledging it, more or less.
Yeah, so I thought in a way it was definitely pretty brilliant, and yeah, well played.
Yeah, pretty much conspiracy theory me thinks like there was some kind of bigger ending that didn't work for some reason, and this is what they kind of managed to chop together or something. But honestly, even if they did, I absolutely loved it just because it's like the whole episode is just Dee being exasperated, right? Everyone's giving her shit, everything. She finally does the thing, even if it's only getting 1 pin, because I believe if you look at her score, she literally had a 0 until then. So 1 pin in a bowling match, I'm almost positive a 3-year-old could do that without bumpers. So I don't know that she has that much to be proud of, but just the idea that she's so proud and no one else could give a shit. And then that ties right into the women's sports thing and the waitress. So whether that was the actual intended ending or not, I absolutely loved it. So
yeah, agreed.
And I guess we should probably mention, I love the whole thing where she hears Dennis in her head. And then you see the ball going down and you hear the pins, with the weird faces, like they kind of have Dennis's eyes and mouth on them and they're talking.
Yeah, I really like that effect.
They don't really do surreal CGI very often. I mean, maybe a handful of times, if that. I thought that was great. Very unexpected, but awesome. Little Lebowski-ish feels, right? Kind of the following the ball down the lane when it's kind of swerving and everything and the pins talking like that. That feels like that kind of come out of like the dude's kind of dream sequence there he has in the middle of the flick.
It was definitely right up the alley, dude. I love that scene, actually, man. I love that they put the faces on all the tops of the pins, and the slow mo of the ball going, weaving back and forth and shit and everything else. And yeah, it could have maybe like been similar to a Lebowski, one of the dudes' dreams.
Like talking pins. I would have bought that the dude would like have pins talk to him.
I'm sure the dude has had pins.
Maybe that's Donnie's secret, dude. Maybe the pins talk to him.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I know he's throwing rocks tonight, man, but yeah, but yeah, no, I enjoyed that scene, and it was definitely, it had that build up, it had that suspense and everything, which was kind of cool. And as we talked about earlier,
and then just undercuts it and just absolutely spectacularly. And even they even use like the very uplifting like go out music, like you know, the real like not even like the medium joint, like the super happy ending joint, like Wayne's World style.
Yeah.
Before we kick off the award tour, let's find out how other Sunny fans are feeling about the episode. And I followed along on Twitter, on some of the social media while the episode was going down. Everyone seemed to like it. Over on the It's Always Sunny subreddit, on Reddit, I'd say the response has been overwhelmingly positive. And it kind of makes sense that the Gang Goes Bowling has a rating of 8.7 on IMDb. That puts it in a 9-way tie for 40th overall among Sunny episodes. That pretty much makes it a top 25% Sunny episode in that top quarter of episodes. What do you think, man? Is this like a top 25% episode in the top quarter, the top half of the top half?
I'd give it, yeah, I'd probably give it right about there, man. This is a pretty solid episode front to back, dude. So I can see it being right there in the top quarter for sure.
I think that's right about where it is for me. I was kind of looking on IMDb, and I think I would rate it a little bit higher. But again, because of how closely these episodes are tied between the 8.7 and like 9.1, there's probably 40 episodes or something ridiculous. So it's a really kind of like tight grouping there. I'd probably put it a little higher than 8.7, but I think probably overall top 25% is about right. Maybe top 20 after I let it sit, watch it again, see if they do anything that calls back to it in the final episode, although they don't really have to. Again, very solid. I'm very impressed for season 16. I really think they're kind of closing it out on a heater here. They have 2 more seasons left. And, as of now, I'm just hoping that we don't have to wait, 2 years between seasons anymore. We have fun trying to come up with alternate titles for Sunny episodes, not because the original titles aren't great, just because there are usually a ton of good options. The Gang Goes Bowling is perfect in its simplicity, but I think we could have a little bit of fun here. And one I think would just be fun is D looks like Carmen Sandiego. If I just read that title, I would be interested in the episode. It's a very small gag. It only comes up in the opening scene, but I definitely just enjoyed that, if nothing else, for the Carmen Sandiego shout out. You got any alternate title, Soup?
Chili cheese fry finger pincher.
Chili cheese fry finger pincher. That sounds like a sex move.
It is. Well, no. I don't know. If it isn't, it should be. If it isn't, it should be. Yeah, it is kind of a mouthful, but it just popped in there.
To see if I was going to do that as a sexual based one, I'd go with if you must mush later.
That's a good one.
Nice. If you want to keep it with the chili cheese fries, but go like Guns N' Roses style, go with the chili cheese fries incident.
Yeah, that's cool.
And what I think you would like, just because it sounds like fun. Vaginas and penises together again.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. You're right. That's shit, man. It's one of the best quotes in the episode.
Yeah, and if you wanted to do like just kind of like something that fits the usual title, you go with like either D throws gutter balls or maybe Dennis breaks every bone in his hand. If I saw that episode title, I'd definitely be intrigued.
Oh yeah, either one of those would totally work.
The first stop on the award tour is our favorite quotes from the episode. Soup, what was your favorite bit of dialogue from the Gang Goes Bowling, 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 Bowling?
This was kind of tough because there was a lot of really good like little one-liner quotes or whatever, man. So I had to just go ahead and pick one, and it had to be when Snail said,
"Yeah, I love bowling. The whole scene is so hot. I sucked off a rando in the parking lot. Oh, my mouth hurts."
And the reason I like this so much because she finished it off with, "Ow, my mouth hurts." And I just thought that was fucking great. So that's that I gave that the fucking quote of the episode.
Oh, see, I love that, and I'm going to go with something probably towards the beginning of the episode as well. And I've kept alluding to it, but I just have to go with the little early exchange between D and Dennis, where D's like,
Why is everyone asking me questions?
Well, it's because you're sneaking around trying to steal money that you haven't earned and looking like Carmen Sandiego. I mean,
that was one of those. As soon as I heard that line, I'm like, oh boy, I think this is going to be an episode I enjoy very much.
Yeah,
agreed. And I think I was right. The next up on the award tour is our favorite scene or moment from the Gang Goes Bowling. I'll go first here. Man, there are a couple of different ways you can go, but I think I probably just have to go with the McPoyles bowling. lineup, so I got to go with kind of the McCoyles doing their little bowling there, especially after they set them up to be like really good bowlers, right? They don't even get to throw a ball. Like I just love to, again, they undercut it kind of. Soup, favorite scene moment.
Right. I considered that one, dude. I'll have to agree there, man. And you know what? I think maybe he might have caught a little bit more than a pinch. It looked like that.
I said broken initially, but after the whole gang, and I've been there before, man. If you do get your fingers pinched between two bowling balls on the return, you can definitely break them. Like,
oh, for sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Damn. Anyway, fucking moving on. Again, this is a tough decision because there was a lot of good fucking scenes I could have picked from here. But I'm taking it back to early on in the episode, and it is going to be when Dee says,
Well, I'm gonna head out. You guys enjoy sitting around with your ding-dongs in your hand doing nothing all night.
God, my ding-dong wasn't even in my hand. I mean,
Mine was.
Yeah, so was mine. Yeah, I was scratching mine when she said that.
I had my hands fully down my pants, if I'm being honest. I had to push it to the left.
you know, so just and so on and so on. And then, you know, obviously at the end of the day,
to push it to the left, dude.
Just yeah. You know, you got to rearrange the furniture sometime. But, you know, lucky guess. Either way, that played out. That scene I thought was gold. So,
oh, nice, dude. Yeah, because we probably didn't get to bring that one up enough. So that's a perfect Johnsky right there. The next up on the award tour might be my personal favorite. It's our 5-star man or woman. This is where we rank the characters in the episode from 1 star to 5 stars. The 1 star is the worst. First is the worst, just as Dee, according to her mother. And our 5-star man or woman is the best, our episode MVP. I'll go first here. They didn't get much done, but at number 1, I have to go with the McCoyles. They own a bowling alley, and I legitimately laughed out loud every single scene they were in. At 2, I got to give it up for Dee, because at least she won for what it's worth, and no one else cared, but she cares maybe a little. At 3, got to go with Charlie, because he bowled okay, but he seemed to really enjoy that birthday party. I'm not sure how he did against Tyrone in the air hockey, but it seemed like he was having a good time. At 4, I'm actually going to go with Artemis. Again, I loved her storyline. I thought every time she was on screen, she was great. And bonus, she got a threesome at the end. And at 5, my 5-star man, give me Frank Reynolds. He got his bowling on. He got his chili cheese fries on. And he had a threesome. That's hard to beat, man. So
that's a good day. Yeah.
Hard to beat. Yeah, chili cheese fries, and a threesome, dude. That's a weekend. That's not even a day. That's a weekend.
So a lot of similarities here, man. You know, the first one is definitely different. My 1 star I'm giving to the waitress, dude. I was expecting to see
I would have. There was a and I didn't get to put Dennis on either. This was a very tough to find 5. This could easily been a 7-star people.
But I think she was pretty important. This is one of the better roles she's had in recent memory here. The 2 I'm giving to the McPoyles, man, because how can you not put him in there somewhere, dude? I mean, I almost feel like I should rank him a little bit higher. But
yeah, that's where it came to me. They just had to. Everyone kind of like, but D won, so I felt like I had to squeeze her in somewhere.
And that's why I'm putting Dee at 3, because she could easily push all the way to 5-star because she really did win the day, I guess. But but did she really? Because nobody gave a fuck.
I mean, we don't even know if the Sixers won or not.
Right. So anyway, she gets 3. Number 4, I'm giving to Charlie because I feel like he had the most fun. He was the only one that, aside from Frank, he had the most fun, and maybe Snail. They were just there for the fun, dude. Which was awesome, and Charlie showed that he was having fun. And there's no way Tyrone's beating him 2 out of 3 in air hockey, dude. So
I don't know what if he had too much cake and beer in his hands. I mean, that's tough to.
Cake and beer is a bad combo, man. So yeah, that could maybe affect him, make it a touch of consumption out of that. Who knows? But and then number 1, I'm agreeing with you there, and I'm going with Frank because he really did get the best deal out of everything, man. And fucking bowling, chili cheese fries. And the threesome. Not only that, but he also fucking mushed it with fucking what's her lips earlier. So he got more than one piece of action.
Yeah, he might have been a dually on Artemis if they really did get the quickie in before it. I mean, she said it. We didn't see it, but you have to assume it happened off camera maybe. So shout out Frank for reloading on quick notice. Not bad for an older guy.
Yeah. So impressive on Frank's part, man. So I give him that. So he gets the number 1, dude.
Yeah, somehow he was weirded out by Max Anal Beans. He's having a threesome in a bowling alley bathroom. That's pretty sexually adventurous, I would say.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's one thing to get busy in a Burger King bathroom, but a bowling alley bathroom. Although it does have maybe even better alliteration, but
yes, it does.
And the final stop on the award tour is our episode grades for The Gang Goes Bowling. We grade each episode of Sunny on a scale of 0 to 100 Paddys bucks. I'm going to go first here. I really like this one. My favorite of the season so far. I'm dropping 91 Paddys dollars on this joint. I am making it rain a bit. Soupdeucer, how many Paddys bucks you giving to The Gang Goes Bowling?
Dude, I like this one a lot. It might be my favorite of the season. I'm going pretty high on this too, and I'm giving it a 93, man.
93, dude. A good year. We like that. Before we get into predictions, let's check out our season 16 episode rankings. Only got one to go here. At the bottom is the season premiere, The Gang Inflates. Frank shoots every member of the gang. Celebrity Booze, the ultimate cash grab. At 4 is Risky Rats, Pizza and Amusement Center. At 3 is The Gang Gets Cursed. At 2 is Frank versus Russia. And at number 1, The Gang Goes Bowling. This episode, we'll check back into these at the end of the season. We've had a couple of people miss shows, so we'll get the grades back in. Maybe we'll see if anybody has any real revisions, anything they feel bad about. I think Soup's 68 rating for The Gang Inflates might come back into play at some point, so we will circle back around to that eventually. But now it's time for us to give our predictions on the season finale. This includes discussing the teaser trailer for the next episode. If you don't want to be spoiled on that, go ahead and hit stop now. Thanks for checking this out. See you again next week. For everybody else, this is prediction time. The season finale is Dennis takes a mental health day, and the short plot synopsis is, after a physical reveals that Dennis has elevated blood pressure, he decides to take a day to de-stress at the beach. His day spirals into a domino chain of tech and customer service challenges until he can no longer contain his rage. We also see in the trailer the rest of the gang are doing something where they got a pressure cooker and they're going to make diamonds. I'm assuming that it's going to turn out very bad because there's a reason people make bombs out of pressure cookers, and that's not really how diamonds work. Like they need to be.
Nobody
like...
makes diamonds in a pressure cooker.
No matter what you say,
that, it would be done already.
And in the trailer, we don't really see Dennis go to the doctor, but we do see that he bought the Philly equivalent of a Tesla. I believe it's like a Tulsa or something like that. And he's having a lot of problems pairing his phone. And I can feel that, dude. I hate technical problems. Like I had internet issues the other day, and I'm technically competent enough to know that just enough to make me angry, basically. And I couldn't figure out what's going wrong, and I just kept getting mad. I absolutely hate that kind of stuff. But I am very intrigued because Dennis kind of getting on edge can be very, very funny when they do it correctly. And they've been doing it pretty good for the most part of this season. What do you think, Super? Are you excited for this kind of like maybe a little bit more of a Dennis-centric episode that's maybe building to a little bit of a blow up?
Yeah, kind of, man. And you know, a lot of times that I'm iffy with Dennis a lot of times, man, but I do like the way this is going to play out. I think from what I kind of understand, I love some of the stuff about it from what you gather from the trailer, especially being on the phone. And I can totally relate to this with, give me a representative, like you just want to talk to a fucking person. It's so hard to get a fucking person on the phone anymore. So I get the frustration. Shit, I just went through this the other day. Anytime you try to call up somebody, it's like, no, dude, you can't get a fucking person. Give me a person, dude. There's never any people out there anymore.
Yeah, he's in the trailer yelling at like representative or whatever.
Yeah,
just trying to get someone's attention.
So many times.
Pressing zero, pound, trying to do all
it takes me back to the menu, and if you want, press so and so for whatever. I'm like, no, give me a so yes, I get that. I can totally relate to that. I hope they play into that a little bit because it'll be funny. And I think there's probably everybody in the world has experienced something like that at this point, so definitely relatable. Yeah, I mean, they're going to finish off the season pretty strong, I think, so.
What do you think at the end? Like, we see him have like the Tesla joint or whatever in the trailer. At the end of the episode, is he still have that, or does he have the Range Rover back somehow?
I wouldn't doubt it if that happened. I wouldn't doubt if he gave up on it.
I feel like it's just so just that he's so synonymous with the Range Rover. I feel that he just has to have. They even did that back when he came back in season 14. It was one of my favorite episodes from that season where he goes through like the whole thing to finally be able to find the exact same Range Rover again. Now how are you going to take it away?
He might go full on Dennis Psycho and like blow it up or burn it or drive it into the fucking ocean or who knows and just be like, fuck this thing and go back to his Range Rover,
All right, man. I think that's it. Thanks again for checking out the Night Pod Cometh. You can find us on YouTube and wherever you get pods, on the social media at Night Pod Cometh. Please don't forget those flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. It really helps us out a lot. We appreciate it. If you had fun, just remember to give us a thumb. I'm Magnum Mills. He's the Soupdeucer, and Jamie G is somewhere out there in the ether, doing ether, who knows. And above all, after everything else, thank you for being a fighter for the Night Pod Cometh.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
Bowling, bowling.